afternoon! How are you all doing? Ayan ha. So nakikita nyo sa inyong mga screens, dalawa kami na nandirito. Kumusta na kayo? And I would like to welcome everyone to another episode of Ask the Pro, your guide to the new normal, and a Shopee Live segment where we have invited experts and professionals to discuss and answer your questions on relevant topics during the lockdown. So mapa-health man yan, finances, or productivity, we got you. So last episode, we talked about protecting our mental health during ECQ with the help of our guest psychiatrist. I'm sure marami kayong natutunan dyan, Shopee fam, kasi ako mismo, ang dami kong nadampot kay Dr. Roald. So as you picked up Dr. Roald's discussion on ways on how to stay sane during this very difficult time, remember it is normal to feel sometimes frustrated, sometimes angry, and scared during this crisis. Pero, para hindi natin maramdaman ang mga yan at hindi tayo ma-down ng todo-todo, meron kaming good news for you guys. Of course, we have Shopee Coins! Of course! Kaya naman bago ang lahat, we have a treat for you. Meron kayong 15,000 Shopee Coins na paghahati-hatian. Hindi lang yan. Dahil meron din tayong 2 vouchers to give away. Kaya naman make sure to stay with us until the very end of the show. And remember, Shopee fam, nagre-reset ang mga timers nyo every time you exit the app. Kaya naman, stay tuned lang sa amin. I'm sure looking forward na kayong makilala ang ating guest today, and you can see him on your screens right now, actually. Wave ka naman, Sir Carlo. O, yan.
Hi, guys.
So, he is the founder of Manila Grow Kits, a company specializing in modern-day organic grow kits. And he is also the president of Novatech Group, a biotech and agriculture company that manufactures the country's most trusted organic fertilizer and probiotic-based veterinary products. Currently, he is also spearheading the Ragsak Family Farm. Did I do well on that? Ragsak
Yes,
Family Farm, right?
sakto.
A 3-hectare multi-use integrated family farm in Tarlac. Kaya naman, Shopee fam, hindi ko napapatagalin pa. Let us all welcome Sir Carlo Sumawang.
Hi, guys.
Sir.
Good afternoon. Hi, everybody.
Ayan, balita ko may ibang balita ka muna sa amin before we start the topic proper.
Oh, yeah. Siguro just to start my presentation lang, because I know everybody is excited to start their own plans kung paano kayo mag-uumpisa. Pero siguro a quick bite lang, because ngayon, lalo na yung mga young ones natin, nagtataka kayo bakit yung mga kabataan natin, they're parang having a hard time really appreciating agriculture, Rosie. Siguro some insights lang, because when we started yung Manila Grow Kits back in 2016, meron kaming maliit na parang survey lang for people living in Metro Manila na kaedad natin, ay masuming magkaedad tayo. Tama ba?
I'm 35, baka I'm old.
Yes, magkaedad. So, we asked them one simple question. Ang tinanong lang namin sa kanila is, what do you think about farming and gardening in general? As in, sobrang vague lang ng tanong namin. And this was parang 100 respondents. And then kami, habang hinihintay namin yung results ng survey, we're kind of excited na baka maganda yung response nila or maganda yung appreciation nila. But as it turns out, almost 80% nung sinurvey namin has negative connotation about farming. And some of them said to us na parang, farming, hindi naman nauso yan, or farming is just getting your hands dirty, mainit lang daw. Yung iba sabi naman nila, farming is hard. So, we clung onto that. We fixated ourselves on that parang insight. And since then, we really tried our very best to really go out there to teach people how to grow their own plants. Because a lot of, and I think mamaya madi-discuss natin as we go along with the presentation, yung misconception nila about, and I'm sure marami makaka-relate, yung sinasabi nilang wala raw silang green thumb, meron daw silang black thumb. And we always get Manila Grow Kits. It's not always the case. Having a black thumb, siguro patay yung kuko mo to begin with, but it does definitely have nothing to do with you not capable of planting or growing your own food. It's just a matter of finding the right resources, finding where to begin, and knowing all the essentials, which is yun nga yung ibibigay natin sa kanila today. So I really hope, and I'm very excited because, yeah, and sakto kasi siya dun sa current situation natin. So kami mga young farmers, we are really, really excited to share our knowledge because at the end of the day, as more and more people are actually trying to plant their own food, much better for everybody. So we're very excited.
Perfect! Dahil ayan, narinig ko na nabanggit mo, Sir Carlo, that we would
Yes.
learn how to grow our own plants. Kaya naman, eto na. Let us get right to it, Shopee fam. Sabi nga, di ba, last time ni Dr. Rowell from our previous episode, one way to cope with the stress na dala ng COVID-19 pandemic is to cultivate a hobby while you are on lockdown. So, amid the crisis, some of us are adjusting pa rin to the new normal by making the most out of activities that can be done in the home. And
Sure.
also, while practicing social distancing. Kaya naman, this might be the best time to start our own vegetable, or fruit garden in
Yes.
our homes, right? Dahil pahirapan na rin ang pag-grocery nga right now o pamamalengke. Nako, dito sa amin, kung ano ang last name mo, may schedule ka lang ng pamamalengke, okay? Nako, Shopee fam, by the way ha, right now, since we are talking about grocery or how we can start our own vegetable or fruit garden in our homes, please refrain muna po from commenting our mobile numbers because we will focus muna on our discussion right now. So this is going to be about starting our own vegetable or fruit gardens at home, and whether you are growing your own edible garden in order to ensure food security or simply making farming a new hobby during the ECQ, o diba? Marami siyang tulong eh. Either way,
True.
farming has proven to be a very useful skill during the time of this COVID-19 pandemic. Diba, Shopee fam? Agree ba kayo? Ang swerte ng mga merong malalawak na lupain. Pero, i-discuss yan mamaya ni Sir Carlo. That's not everything that you need, right, Sir Carlo?
Yes. I'd like to believe so, Rosie.
Kasi it makes more sense to start now in trying to grow your own food instead of spending for it. Kasi it is also a good way para makatipid. Mga Shopee mommies na mga wais yung mga yan, di ba? Para hindi tayo na-expose din sa virus when we go out and buy food. And most importantly, you get healthy, fresh, and nutritious vegetables right there at home. Di ba? Amazing. Siguro yung mga hindi pa gustong mag-start, you better watch this episode. Kaya naman, wag na nating patagalin pa, Shopee fam. Tune in while Sir Carlo teaches us all about home gardening. Sir Carlo, ano bang mga kailangan to start our own edible garden?
I think maliban sa patience and love, yung mga first talaga na kailangan natin. But I think I'll start by giving you guys the basics. Because when we talk about farming, usually yung mga tao nai-intimidate sila na parang, saan ba ako mag-uumpisa or ano yung mga kailangan ko? Well, maliban sa paso, which I will be discussing, and lupa and buto, I think we need to cover all the basics first. Ano ba yung mga essentials when we're trying to start growing? So I think I need the presentation para at least medyo mas ma-visualize ninyo. Because while pinuput up yung presentation, I think meron lang mga 5 or 6 na kailangan natin tandaan, which is very close to everybody's heart. And hindi siya yung tipong mahirap tandaan. On top of my head, lupa, araw, tubig, container, and of course, fertilization. Basically, 5 lang. Pero when we try to discuss them, it's really important for us malaman kung paano ba talaga. So wait, I'm still waiting for the presentation to
So I think Joe is working on that and it's already up now. Sir Carlo, baka after that also, gusto rin naming malaman kung ano yung benefits pag nag-grow kami ng edible garden.
Sure, of course. So, sige, let's start na with press. All right, there. Okay, so nakita ko na siya. Joe, can we start with the urban gardening basics part? Para at least nandun na tayo.
Ayan, excited kami. Masasagot lahat ni Sir Carlo ang mga questions natin. Kaya tumutok lang kayo, Shopee ma'am.
So habang iniintay ko, actually may mga props ako dito. Gardening can actually be something, maliban sa pagtatanim and growing your own food, it can actually be an activity for you guys to recycle, to upcycle. So later siguro dun sa presentation ko, dun sa part ng kailangan natin ng containers, may mga samples ako for you guys.
Sir Carlo, anong
Alright.
slide ang gusto nating i-show?
Oh, okay. Wait lang ha. Yung urban gardening basics, I think mga bandang mid-part yun.
Mid-part? Sige. Mid-part,
Yes.
urban gardening basics. So, ayan.
Yes,
Super
actually,
thank
buksan ko
you
rin
for
yung...
joining us today. Dahil, alam mo ako personally, I have been wanting to really grow a garden here. But you know, like what I told you, Sir Carlo, what was stopping me is that
Yes.
I live in a townhouse lang. And, you know,
Okay.
I don't have like a broad space with so much
True.
sunlight. Kaya I was wondering, baka naman maano lang yung effort ko kung ako ay magtanim, tas baka mamatay lang ang mga halaman.
Correct. And what's the beauty with farming is, yun nga, marami tayong options, and with technology right now, ang dami natin pwedeng gawin in order for us to grow our own food. Jose, I think it's slide 25, if I'm not mistaken.
Slide 25.
Yes.
Okay, it's up. All right.
Okay. All right. So when we start our urban gardening journey, basically ang una natin talaga is growing your own food, right? So next tayo. So yung urban gardening basics natin, 5 yun. Space, seeds, soil, sunlight, tsaka container. Tama ba yung bilang ko? 5? O 5. So kanina, inumpisahan mo, Rosie, with your space constraint, tama? Yun yung parang pinaka-concern mo?
Yes.
Because you're living in a condominium or in a garden. Now, next slide 28. So when we talk about space and when we try to start our own garden and yung efforts natin to growing our own food, it's really important for us to determine saan ba natin itatanim yung mga halaman. And usually, ang misconception ng mga tao with this is, pagka nakatira ako sa maliit na bahay or nakatira ako sa maliit na condominium, there's no opportunity for me to grow. Answer namin usually doon is no. When you're trying to start growing your own food, lalo na sa space, ang number one rule namin is kung may access ka sa labas ng bahay mo. So when we talk about labas, pwede itong maging garden kung nasa townhouse ka. Kung nasa condominium ka naman is yung patio or yung balkonahe. Or yung iba naman, pagka medyo may sense of community yung condominium nila, they actually talk to the building and ask if they can be allowed to grow their plants sa rooftop. So when we're talking about space, ang number one talaga ron is kailangan nasa labas siya. Yun yung number one. Pero pagka wala kang access sa labas, doon na tayo papasok ng medyo hahanapan natin ng lugar kung saan sila pwede. So when we talk about space, ang number one lagi na hinahanap natin is access to sunlight. So katulad ng office ko ngayon, hindi ko na lang mapakita, but I'm able to grow a plant, although this is an indoor plant, because I have access to sunlight. Yung bintana ko medyo malaki siya. So number one, pagka wala tayong outdoor na pwedeng paglagyan ng mga halaman, we can look indoors, pero ang best bet natin always is those that are near a window or access to sunlight. Yun lang yung intindihin natin lagi ron. So, slide 29. So, nagpakita lang ako ng pictures sa presentation ko. Some of the parang places sa bahay natin na pwede yung paglagyan. I think if you're looking at the presentation, ito, window sill lang to. It only goes to show na pagka indoors, ito talaga yung best bet natin. Window sill, pinakamalapit sa windows. But, if ever na wala naman kayong malaking window or window sill enough to grow a plant, I'll discuss it later dun sa sunlight naman para at least hindi kayo mabomba. But when we try to talk about space, yun nga, outdoor, and then pagka indoor naman, you can definitely look for a window sill. Slide 30 next, some of the pictures lang din para at least makita nyo na herbs can actually thrive indoors. So pagkain pa rin yun. Katulad yan na pinag-uusapan natin kanina, Rosie. Yung herbs, you can definitely grow them indoors. It's easy because they appreciate shaded areas. Yung medyo may lilim ng konti. And it's very flexible and it's really easy to grow. And then next, slide 31. Siguro I'm just showing some of the pictures. And I think, Rosie, ang misconception kasi ng mga tao, pag sinabing urban gardening or growing indoors, ang tingin lang nila lagi paso or very small scale. siguro dun sa pinapakita ko ngayon, I'm just trying to open up your horizon. When we talk about urban gardening, it doesn't necessarily have to be na nasa paso. Meron din tayong mga industrial urban garden setups. Yun nga, katulad ng pinapakita ko dun sa presentation. Para at least magkaroon lang kayo ng concrete idea na when we talk about urban gardening, it's not always paso. It's not always small. It can be big. So, siguro para dun sa mga talagang magiging bibo and would start growing, you can expand, you can scale up. It doesn't have to be constrained indoors. It doesn't have to be constrained sa pots. Yun yung point. And then, slide 32 is seeds. Okay, so first natin, Rosie, is yung space. Kung saan mo siya papalakihin, right? Next is very important, seeds. It's really hard for you to grow something without buto. Tama? So, kailangan natin ng buto. I think I'm showing dun sa slides natin yung 4 major kinds of seeds. Pero when we do our talk, ayaw na namin maging specific about it. Basta ang point namin, kailangan mo ng buto para magpalaki ka ng pagkain mo. But I think we did mention a couple, like may open-pollinated varieties, hybrid varieties, heirloom varieties, and GMO. Siguro bigyan ko na lang kayo ng difference between the 2 major seeds. Yung open-pollinated variety, ano ba? Sana wag technical masyado para maintindihan niyo. Okay, yung open-pollinated variety is yung buto, pag tinanim natin siya, like say for example, kamatis, lumaki. Yung fruit kasi ng kamatis, Rosie, I'm sure not everybody's aware, yung buto na ginagamit natin pang tanim is nandun sa fruit, tama? Pagka open-pollinated variety yung buto natin, pwede natin kunin yung buto and then itanim ulit natin. And magpo-produce pa rin siya ng same quality of tomatoes. Pero pagka yung hybrid varieties naman, minsan kasi may mga kamatis na mapula, na maliit, and then may medyo dilaw na malaki. So ang hybrid varieties, ginagawa niya, pinagsasanib niya yung dalawang good traits ng tomato. So they end up having a red but big tomatoes. Okay? Pero ang catch doon, pag tinanim mo yung buto na binseed company na hybrid, nagpalaki, may napitas ka, malaki and pula, pag kinuha mo yung buto doon and then tinanim mo ulit, may possibility na maghiwalay ulit yung trait. Okay? So, yung mga susunod, yung offsprings, yung mga tinanim mo galing dun sa buto na na-harvest mo, pwedeng maghiwalay yung mapula at saka malaki. So, baka pwedeng bumalik siya sa pula na maliit or malaki na hindi pula. So, ang difference basically nung dalawang buto na sinasabi ko, yung open-pollinated varieties, pwede kang magtanim ng magtanim hanggat meron ka ng buto. Pero pagka-hybrid, medyo nakatali ka sa seed companies. Kailangan mong bumili sa kanila for you to get that red and big kind of tomato. So, hindi lang siya sa tomato nangyayari. Maraming mga plants like eggplants na hybrid na pinaghahalo yung mga magagandang traits ng isang halaman. So, ayoko maging too technical about it, but basically yun, the difference of seeds, so to speak.
Very interesting.
Thank
Para
you.
palang dogs, no, na pinaghalo yung ano.
Yes, so para siya yung breed, 'di ba? So yung ganda ng coat and then ganda nung bulk ng katawan or even yung face. They do it also with plants. Pero yun nga, ang parang pinaka manifestation niya is the buto. So, hindi ko alam. I mean, pagka-dog, siguro hindi naman siya maghihiwalay na parang kalahati is maganda yung ano. But it can happen sa plants. Kaya niyang maghihiwalay yung traits niya if ever na tinanim mo ulit yun. So yun lang. I don't want to be too technical about seeds kasi seeds in itself can take a day to discuss. Pero yun na yung difference. Siguro, ang sinasabi lang namin, when trying to buy your seeds, lalo na sa mga garden supply shops, huwag po kayong matakot if it says they're hybrid, F1, maraming codes yan. Point of the matter is, when you're trying to purchase your seeds, yun ang pinaka-importante, I guess, when starting to grow your own plants. So huwag po kayong ma-intimidate. Huwag kayong ma-intimidate when trying to buy your seeds. Also with seeds pala, I think I'll discuss it later, but I need to mention it. May tinatawag po tayong germination rate. So again, another term, huwag kayong masyadong ma-stress. Germination rate basically is yung chances of a buto na mag-sprout. And usually percentage po yun. Example, pag bumili po kayo ng buto, wala lang ako rito. Pag bumili kayo ng seed packets, usually may makikita kayong percentage sa likod, germination rate. And usually 95%. So ibig sabihin nun, sa 100 na buto na meron yung packet na yon, 95 lang doon yung mag-germinate. Okay? So, we usually get this a lot kasi pag may nagtatanim, like maghuhulog sila ng 4 na buto sa paso. And then, magbe-message sila sa amin, walang lumaki sa halaman namin or sa buto namin. Feeling namin sira yung product nyo. No, it's not that sira yung product. It is nature's way. Hindi lahat talaga ng buto is lumalaki. So, if ever you start sowing and start growing and hindi lumaki yung buto nyo, please don't get discouraged. It's normal. So, yung mga farmers natin actually experience that all the time. And it's perfectly normal. And all you have to do is to resow. Magtanim po lang ulit kayo ng bagong buto. Alright? So next, slide 33 is soil. I think sa science subjects natin, explain na to, we have 3 kinds of soil. Naalala mo pa, Rosie? Hindi na.
Hindi na. Ang soil sa akin, isa na lang. Color brown.
Yes. But when it comes to farming, I don't want to be, again, too technical about soil. Ang soil natin is basically categorized into 3. We have the sandy, or yung mabuhangin. We have the clayish, or yung maputik. And then somewhere in between, which is the loam. Ang difference lang nun, and it doesn't necessarily go na pagka clay or pagka sandy yung lupa na meron kayo, hindi na kayo pwede magpalaki. No. Actually, may mga plants na mahilig sa sandy or yung sa mabuhangin na lupa. May mga halaman din na mahilig naman sa clay. And may mga halaman na mahilig sa loam, which is somewhere in between. So, basically, ang characteristics lang nun, sandy, in terms of tubig, pag binuhusan natin ng tubig ang sandy soil, mabilis niyang mawawala yung soil or hindi niya kayang hawakan yung moisture. Pagka clay naman, pag naglagay tayo ng tubig sa clay na pot, kung yung sandy, say for example, kayang mawala ng tubig sa sistema ng sandy soil within 2 hours, yung clay can prolong it for 5-6 hours na may tubig pa siya sa loob. So, yung loam naman is somewhere in between. So, ayun yung pinakamaganda siguro na gauge kung anong soil meron. Hindi siya matuyo pagka medyo buhaghag, that's sandy. Pagka medyo malagkit and compact and then lagi siyang basa, it usually means na it's clayish. And then somewhere in between is yung loam. Now, next slide 34, I think naglagay lang ako ng mga iba't ibang halaman na mahilig sa clay, sa sandy, and sa loam. So kung makikita nyo, yung clay, usually tinatanim natin dyan is green leafy vegetables like lettuce, cabbage, and broccoli, petchay, yan yung mga tinatanim natin. Why? Because green leafy vegetables, yung mga gulay na yun, like lettuce, its majority, yung components or composition ng lettuce is actually water. Tubig yon. Pag kinagat mo, matubig, tama? Hindi siya masyadong mass. So, lettuce actually loves clay soil because clayish kind of soil kasi laging may tubig. So, may available na water for it to eat, so to speak. And then, yung sandy naman, hindi naman lahat, but karamihan ng herbs natin na-appreciate nila yung sandy environment. Why? Katulad ng lavender and ng rosemary, yung mga ugat kasi nun medyo maninipis. So ayaw nila nang laging may tubig dun sa ugat nila. So kung ang tao medyo may personality, may mga personality rin ng mga halaman natin. Hindi sila yung basta tinanim mo dyan and then lalaki lang. And then of course, for the loam, this is somewhere in between. Ito yung mix. As a general rule, lahat ng may pinipitas na bunga, they would actually appreciate a loamy kind of soil. Medyo somewhere in between. So ano ba yung may mga pinipitas and hina-harvest? I think, una sama ng loob, no, I'm just kidding. Eggplant, tomatoes, patola, ampalaya, lahat na may pinipitas would actually appreciate a loamy kind of soil. Now, minsan, may mga nagtatanong sa amin, so meron daw silang garden bed, pero pag tingin nila, ang pangit ng lupa, mabato, and then lagi nila sinasabi sa amin, hindi na ba kami pwede magtanim? Ang lagi namin sinasabi, no matter how ugly or bad your soil is, may mga pwede tayong gawin para mag-improve natin yung klase ng lupa natin. And we can do composting, maglagay tayo ng fertilizer, but point of the matter is, pag pangit yung lupa mo, maraming ways for us to improve it. And ano pa ba yung mga misconceptions about soil? Oh, ang misconception pa ng mga tao about soil kailangan ba namin, usually ating mga tanong, kailangan ba namin ng iba't ibang klaseng lupa for iba't ibang klaseng halaman? Sinabi ko na po yun, yung sandy clayation loam. Yung iba naman tinatanong nila, kailangan ba namin ng ibang lupa for different stages of the plants? Ang answer namin doon is, yes, pagka buto pa lang, ito may sample pala ako, pagka mga buto pa lang po, and then you're trying to germinate it or yung magpapa-sprout ka pa lang, kailangan mabuhaghag po yung lupa na ginagamit ninyo. Why? Because if it's too clayish, pag medyo compact siya, mahihirapan siyang mag-pierce through. So minsan nabubulok na siya sa loob, hindi pa siya lumalabas. And then pagka medyo malaki na siya, that's when you try to convert it into something loamish. Okay, so clay, sandy, and loam. Next naman natin is sunlight. Slide 35. Okay. So sunlight, it's kind of one of the biggest limiting factor when we're trying to grow our own plants. Why? Because plants need photosynthesis and photosynthesis requires sunlight. Tama? Shit. Science, sorry. So, okay, ang sunlight, we actually are breaking it into 3 kinds or yung amount of sunlight na nakukuha natin. First is full sun. So minsan pag sinabi ng full sun, ng mga hardinero or nagtuturo about gardening, ano ba yung full sun? Minsan nahihirapan yung mga tao to grasp the concept of full sun. But putting it into our term, yung full sun po is a space, lugar, na nakaka-receive ng 6 hours or more na araw. So pag tinatamaan po yung lugar natin ng araw for 6 hours, full sun po yun. Kumbaga jumakpat kayo ron kasi you have the widest plants to choose from in terms of growing. Yung partial sun naman po na tinatawag natin or shaded, it is a spot kung saan nakaka-receive siya ng 3 to 6 hours na sunlight. Ganun lang yun. So, full sun is 6, partially shaded is 3 to 6 hours, and of course, yung shaded or yung full shade, yung 0 nakakuha niya ng sunlight or up to 3 hours. So, bakit importante na malaman natin kung ano yung sun exposure na pwede natin paglagyan? May mga certain crops na hindi natin pwedeng palakihin pagka konti yung araw natin. Alright? So, umpisa natin with full sun. Yung full sun, slide 36, some of the plants that we can actually grow is, again, lahat ng may pinipitas. So, kung may nakita po kayong pinipitas dyan, talong, hot pepper, kamatis, it will most likely require full sun, 6 hours or more. Yung iba, kaya po nila magpalaki ng talong, and this is talong or kamatis. And this is usually being inquired by us. Nagtataka sila parang, may talong ako, ang laki na, like ganito na raw siya. Ay, talong, kamatis, malaki na raw. And then, ang ganda naman niya, or marami naman siyang dahon, pero walang prutas. Paano kami? Bakit? And then we usually ask, saan niyo po ba nilalagay? Ano po ba yung sun exposure? And then malalaman namin na medyo kulang sa araw yung kamatis. It won't bear fruits. It will be very hard for you guys to harvest anything that you pick pagka kulang po yung araw. So, kaya niyang lumaki, kaya niyang magkaroon ng leaves, ng foliages, but it won't be enough for it to bear a fruit. So, full sun po talaga yun. And then of course, ornamentals. Halos lahat ng may bulaklak na gusto niyo pong tignan would usually require full sun. We're talking about sunflowers. Sunflower is called sunflower because of one simple reason, because it loves sun. Marigold, zinnia, lahat po ng mga bulaklak na to would really appreciate full sun. So kailangan po nila yun for them to bloom, for them to grow, and for them to, well, show kung ano yung iyayabang nila, which is basically the bulaklak. So when we go to partial sun, yun, slide 37, lahat or mostly leafy vegetables. Yun na nga, yung lechugas or lettuce. Saan ba yun? Arugula, kale, mustard, and spinach. Again, this is coming from the simple fact na yung mga halaman na to comprise mostly of water. So pagka full sun po sila, mabilis matuyo yung laman nila. So hindi nila na-appreciate yun. So medyo mas okay sa kanila na may partially shaded or hindi sila masyado na-expose sa araw. So we're talking about lettuce, arugula, kale, mustard, spinach. And of course, almost all of our herbs actually appreciate shaded. Lalo na yung mint, yan yung pinaka-common. Mint, chives, parsley, cilantro, tarragon, and thyme on top of our head lang. Yun yung mga herbs that actually appreciate shaded areas. Right? And last but not the least, of course, is shaded. And for shaded, favorite po yan ni Sarah because patatas, pwede kayong mag-grow ng patatas without sunlight in it. So you can grow indoors. So yeah, you are very much limited into growing root crops. I think carrots is also okay. But on top of my head, it's patatas. Yun yung pinakasikat, I guess, na root crop. We are talking about beets, carrots, space. This is basically looking outdoors. Kung wala, indoors po tayo. And then try to look for a windowsill. And then we also talked about seeds, if I'm not mistaken. Yung OPV variety, yung hybrid variety. But point of the matter is, wag po kayo matakot when you're trying to buy your seeds. We talked about soil, loamish, clayish, and of course, sandy. And now we're talking about sunlight. Okay. So, all right. So usually ang question is, paano yan? Pagka kunyaring wala ngang araw dun sa condominium or dun sa place namin, wala na kami bang way? I mean, hindi naman kasi kami mahilig sa patata, so anong i-grow namin? Usually yung mga questions. And surprisingly enough, and we're very fortunate to be living in this generation because we can do a lot or we can actually purchase some of the technology out there para makapagpalaki po tayo ng plants indoors. And I think I can show dun sa slide 40, slide 39 muna, that you can actually purchase growing lights. Yung mga growing lights po na ito na tinatawag natin is, sila po yung mga ilaw na minimimic or ginagaya yung rays ng araw. So usually blue and red po yun. Kaya kung mapapansin nyo, pagka pumunta po kayo sa mga restaurants and then yung ilaw po nila is may blue and green, most likely po yun, po siya colored lights just because. But what we can do right now is if you're very much limited with the sunlight exposure of your space, and lalo na ngayon, some of the condominiums have super small windows and some units doesn't even have windows anymore, you can purchase growing lights. And katulad nga po ng sinabi ko kanina, it's really parang amazing to be living in this day and age. Bakit? Because 4 or 5 years ago, nag-check po kami ng growing lights. And a growing light, a simple growing light, isang bumbilya lang po siya, can set back purchasers around 2,000, 2,500, isang bumbilya. But you can check, of course, nag-search ako sa Shopee, PP, slide 40, growing lights right now are very cheap. You can actually get a growing light for almost 350 pesos. And they can serve their purpose. They can actually give that much needed light dun sa mga plants ninyo. So ngayon, actually yung sunlight requirement, yung full sun, shaded, and of course yung partially shaded, medyo kaya na nating burahin yung gap nun because of a growing light. So just to give you an example, I think dun pa sa isang picture, namili ako ng isa, slide 41, this is only 365 pesos. But this can actually let you grow vegetables, which is yung green leafy vegetables, yung lettuce, which is very ideal because, of course, I'm assuming papalakihin nyo po siya sa loob kasi wala nga kayong ilaw. So it's very conducive for the lettuce to grow indoors, relatively mas malamig, and then controlled nyo po yung ilaw. So again, it's an amazing time to live in right now. Sakto pa. Hindi naman sakto, but okay din kasi with the pandemic, marami tayong pwedeng gawin into growing our own plants. So that's one, grow lights. And then slide 42, again, I'm just trying to expand your idea of urban gardening. When we try to say indoors, hindi po yan yung basta bumbilya lang. Marami na ngayon actually different systems for us to grow our own food. Meron tayong tinatawag na may potless, hydroponics, aquaponics. So I don't want to dwell into details, but I'm just trying to expand your idea of urban gardening. So I think dun sa picture, it is a tower. And then, para siyang may tubo, and then lumalabas yung mga lettuce natin doon, and then may lines lang siya. So what I'm trying to do right now is really try to give you an idea na ito pala yung pwedeng maging itsura ng urban garden. Hindi lang pala siya paso.
Thank you
Okay?
actually. Thank you for all of the good news, Sir Carlo. Kasi, kala namin
Yes.
talaga before, di ba? We would need like so much for us to be able to grow something from our houses. Pero buti na lang at sinabi mo nga sa amin na actually, 5 basics, and then we are good to go. We can actually start growing our food from our houses. And that is very good news for us,
True.
Shopee fam. Lalong-lalo na, may mga available pa na option sa Shopee. So yung nakita ni Sir Carlo ay 365 lamang, di ba? Good news talaga yan for all of us, lalo na mga Shopee mommies na
Yes.
gustong magtanim sa bahay. At speaking of good news, Shopee fam, also to give Sir Carlo some water break maybe, for now,
Thank
I
you.
am going to give you a voucher! It is voucher time, Shopee fam! Kaya naman, please go ahead and tap to claim na. From your screens, makikita nyo yan. Meron kayong 30 seconds to tap to claim. And of course, that voucher goes directly to your Shopee accounts. At Sir Carlo, mga voucher nila na to magagamit nila pang purchase ng mga growing lights, etc.
Yes.
From Shopee, diba? Very good, very good. And then, now that we already know, Sir Carlo, all the 5 things that we would need to grow our plants, there's one more.
Actually, yeah.
There's one more.
Do you want me to continue na?
I think our Shopee fam are done. We're good with the claiming. Comment naman kayo down below kung naka-claim na kayo so that we can continue with the 5th item of Sir Carlo. Sige, Sir Carlo, go ahead.
Okay. Alright, sorry. 2 pa pala, pero yung isa sobrang madali na lang. Alright. So we talked about sunlight, soil, seeds, and space. Of course, you cannot grow something, slide 43, without water. So it's really important for us. And usually, ang nakakatawa, pagkadating sa tubig, ang akala ng tao, the more you water, the more chances of winning. It's not usually the case. Maraming plants na namamatay because of overwatering, particularly indoor plants like this one. If you water this frequently enough, it will die. Mas masyado kang excited magdilig. As a general rule, for us, slide 43 is we need to water our plants 2 times a day. This is general recommendation, again, para po dun sa mga pagkain natin. This is morning and then in the afternoon bago po maggabi. Usually, dinidiscourage po namin mga tao to plant or to water their plants midday o yung katanghaliang tapat. Bakit po? Pagka nagdilig po kayo ng katanghalian tapat, mataas yung araw, it's super warm, yung katawan po ng halaman is mainit, and you douse it with water, usually it makes or parang it pushes the plant to be in shock. So meron po tinatawag na plant shock. So minsan magugulat kayo, nagdilig naman ako ng tanghali but parang kinabukasan halos mamatay na siya. It's usually because of that. Sobrang init ng katawan and then you douse it with water, may chances po na malanta. So when watering your plants, really try to pay attention morning and evening. Siguro para rin maintindihan nyo, ano ba yung purpose ng water maliban sa mag-distribute ng nutrients dun sa halaman. Nagtutubig po tayo, binabasa po natin yung soil natin. Specifically, we have to wait for it to absorb all the water. Why? So ang ginagawa po natin, and mami, I think dun sa demo, kung ito po yung paso ninyo, one way for you guys to check kung kailangan nyo ng tubigan yung halaman is you can use your body. So you can use your fingers, you stick your finger 1 inch, isang pulgada ba ang tawag dun sa Tagalog? 1 inch dun sa soil. And pag nilabas nyo po yung kamay ninyo and it's dry, wala po siyang masyadong moisture, you have to water. Pero pag tinanggal nyo yung kamay ninyo and may dumikit na lupa, medyo basa pa siya, you don't have to water them. So again, general rule lang po yun. Kailangan nyo pa rin pong makinig sa halaman ninyo. Again, it is a relationship with your plants. So you have to listen to its requirements and then you have to check it every once in a while. Pero please, don't try to overwater your plants. Bakit namamatay yung mga halaman? Because of overwatering. Lalo na po pag kayong mga pots nyo, katulad nito, kumuha ulit kayo siguro na nilagyan, walang butas sa ilalim, Kaya namamatay yung halaman usually is pagka may naiipon na tubig dun sa base, nabababad po yung ugat niya. So that's what we call root rot, R-O-T, rot as in nabubulok, because it needs to dry up yung sa paligid na lupa niya. Pagka nababad po yung ugat, usually ng halaman natin with still water, nabubulok po siya. It can have fungi, it can have bacteria, and then makikita nyo nabubulok siya. Mas lalo na po dun sa mga halaman na maninipis yung ugat. So it's really important, pagka nagtutubig kayo, make sure na well-draining yung containers natin. And of course, you water them twice a day just to make sure. So make sure nyo rin po na hindi siya natutuyo kasi it can also kill your plants if it dries up. Pero most often than not, mas madaling mamatay ang halaman with overwatering than less watering. So at least alam nyo siya. And then next is, I think ito na yung last, Rosie, is container. When we talk about container, usually pagka nagtotalk po kami about urban gardening, so excited sila, parang, ang ganda, sunlight, soil, seed. Pagdating ng container, nagte-text na sila. Feeling nila hindi importante ang container. No, a container is as equally important as the seeds and sunlight. Why? It can actually determine kung magpo-fruit or maglalabas ng prutas or lalaki yung halaman ninyo. When trying to choose for a container, this is slide 44 or slide 45, may iba-ibang klase po tayong container. Pwedeng paso, yung iba garden beds, yung iba hanging planters. Ito na, may mga sample ako. Hanging planters like this na sinasabit. Meron din sa Shopee nito, nakita ko. Of course, you can use yung mga paper cups natin to germinate, use plastic containers. But point of the matter is, when we're trying to garden or grow on our food, hindi po naman natin kailangan bumili ng mga gamit natin. As a matter of fact, yung buto, yung seed, I think medyo limited lang yung time natin. Pwede nyo pong kunin yung buto ng nabili nyong sile, nabili nyong kamatis. So starting to grow your food is basically just trying to be resourceful. It doesn't have to be a brand new paso, a brand new seed. Pwede nyo kunin yung kamatis nyo, and then you can recycle your containers. So kung mahilig po kayo sa yogurt, you can use this to germinate. But when it comes to container, it's really important for us to determine kung gaano ba kalaki yung halaman natin. Kasi minsan, nag-grow sila, and our grow kits kasi has a coconut hotspot. Nagpapalaki sila, and then feeling nila enough na yung ganito kalaki para sa kamatis. And magtataka sila, shucks, bakit wala pa rin siyang prutas? It's because the container will actually signal the plant kung kaya niyang mag-bloom. Okay. And minsan, pag sinasabi namin to, ang daming nasa-shock. Matalino po yung mga halaman natin. So say for example, nagtanim po kayo ng kamatis, ito na lang para at least medyo mas visually shocking. Nagtanim po kayo ng kamatis sa ganito kalaking container. And when it starts to grow, say for example, 2 feet, ita-transfer nyo naman po siya. Sabi niyo, ay, transfer ko yung kamatis ko sa medyo mas malaki. But this is not enough for a kamatis. And lalo na po pag plastic, once na lumalaki na yung halaman ninyo and natatouch na nung roots yung wall, nung container natin, it actually signals the plant to stop growing. Why? Kasi sinasabi nung root system niya, uy, eto na yung maximum capacity ng bahay natin. Hindi ka na pwedeng tumangkad or lumaki kasi baka bumuwal ka na or baka hindi na kaya nung bahay natin yung plant system natin. So, container is really important kasi minsan may mga nagtatanim, they forget about transferring their plants to a bigger container. Hindi po siya magbe-bear ng fruit not unless suitable for the roots to really grow to support the plant. So again, para lang po tao yan, nakakatansya rin po sila kung okay yung environment nila. So again, root system, when it touches a wall of your container, it actually signals it to stop, not unless it is big enough. So ideally, yung mga container natin, small like this, pagka medyo lumalaki like shrub type, tomato, or eggplants, usually 5 to 6 times bigger than this ang gagamitin po natin. And for the containers, kailangan po, wag niyong kakalimutan, it has to have holes. Kasi pag wala siyang holes, hindi siya magdi-drain, so magsistill yung water and it can actually kill your plants. So that's for the container. So When it comes to containers, ang dami po nating options. It doesn't have to be a coconut coir pots. Although the reason why we're using this, mamaya explain ko dun sa unboxing, is may benefit kasi porous siya. But when it comes to containers, ang dami pong options. This you can just get from your kitchen. This you can also get from your kitchen. So there, let me see my presentation. Siguro slide 48 just to show people. So yung slide 48 naman natin, makikita niyo po ron may mga PET bottles. Yung, pwede ba ako mag-mention ng soda? Yung soda bottles natin, 2 liters. You just cut it, butasan niyo po sa ilalim, and that can actually make as a good planter for your plants, for your leafy vegetables. Kung makikita niyo po rin sa presentation, I think, ano ba yan? Petsa yata. And then they're trying to grow it sa backyard using recycled PET materials or PET bottles. So it's really also good. Slide 49. Again, I'm just trying to expand your horizon when it comes to urban gardening. Ang urban gardening po, hindi laging may lupa. Pwede rin pong katulad niyan. This is aquaponics. So yung aquaponic, halaman po sa taas, and then sa baba is isda. So may mga ganong systems din tayo. May mga available systems niyan dito sa Metro Manila. Marami na rin pong gumagawa niyan. And of course,
Sir
last
Carlo?
but not, yes.
Yes, go ahead
Yes.
for your last
Last
item,
na.
go. And then I'm super excited kasi for you to do the demo. Kasi nakita, hawak mo na kanina yung mga items.
Eto na siya. Okay. Last but not the least, dun sa presentation, slide 50, plant growth stages. Balik po tayo sa science. I don't want to bore you with too much detail, but seed, ang susunod po sa seed is of course yung seedling. Yung seedling natin is pagka mga 2 inches na siya. Yeah, 2 or 3 inches. And then magiging vegetative, dumadami na yung dahon. And then budding, flowering, pag nagsa-start na po siyang mamulaklak. And then of course, when it starts to ripen, meron na po siyang prutas. Pag pinitas yung prutas, nandun po yung buto. And then the cycle repeats itself. Tatanim mo yung buto, then paulit-ulit siya. So that's basically it. Run through, we've talked about space. Sana maalala ko lahat. Space, we talked about soil, we talked about seeds, we talked about sunlight, water, and of course, containers. Sorry, 6 pala siya. Hindi ako magaling magbilang. So 6 points, and then you can immediately start growing your own plants and your own food. But we'll definitely go into on seed sowing.
Wow! So ayan Shopee fam, narinig nyo naman napakadaling tandaan. 4 S's, water and container, correct?
Yeah. Yes, 4 S's, water and container. That's it. Thank you,
Very
Rosie.
easy. Thank you, Sir Carlo, for that very informative discussion. And now, syempre, alam pong hinihintay nyo na ang demo ni Sir Carlo. Kaya naman, let's get right to it. On his hand right now is the growing kit, and he will demonstrate how to use it now.
Yes.
Shopee fam.
Okay, nakikita niyo ba? Our kits comes in a box like this. So naka-seal siya. And then every kit has everything you need to start growing your own plants. Maliban lang po sa patience, sa love, tsaka sa attention, hindi po namin kayang ilagay sa box yun. Nanggagaling po sa inyo yun. So, let's unbox. Hindi ko na po bubuksan to. But it is a small box. And then this can actually, ano ba to? Tomato at pina. Kitchen tomato. It has everything you need. So, when opening the box, first is of course yung infographic. We actually have 7 steps for you to start growing your own plants. 7 lang po yun, so hindi po siya mahirap. When we started, nakakatawa, just a quick story, kasi yung instruction manual namin, isang buong bond paper and then puro text. And then may nag-message namin na customer, wala nang nagbabasa ngayon. So pinalitan po namin siya infographic. So it's really easy for you and for your kids to start growing. So 7 steps po yan. And then of course, the plant marker. Yung plant marker po is, this is where you put the name of your plants. It's really important. Minsan hindi nila iniintindi. Ganito po yan. When you start growing, and yung iba sobrang excited, Rosie, like bibili sila sa amin, 5, 8 plants, iba-iba yon, and then they'll start to grow it ng sabay-sabay. The thing with this is, when it start to sprout, magkakamukha sila. So minsan, pag hindi mo sinulat yung pangalan, nag-expect ka ng kamatis after 3 months, pero apparently, sili pala siya. So it's really important for you to put the name of your plants on one side, and of course, put the date kung kailan niyo po siya hinulog dun sa butas. Why is it important? Kasi nga po, katulad ng sinasabi natin, germination rates. May mga buto na hindi talaga lalaki. So para at least aware po kayo na, uy, parang 2 weeks na yata hindi pa lumalabas, kailangan mo na magtanim ulit. So again, when trying to put the name of your plants here, and then on the other side or dun sa bandang baba is the date. You can be very creative. Pag basil, pwedeng Basil Valdez, Basilio or something, ganun sila ka-crazy. Alright, so plant marker. And then of course, we cannot grow something without the seeds. Ano ba to? Oh, it's basil. Basil Thai. So, para po sa mga hindi pa nakakita ng buto ng basil, ito po siya. Pwede niyo po siyang picture. So basil, we usually put enough seeds inside our grow kits para at least pagka hindi nag-sprout or nag-grow, you can actually get more from your packets. So that's seed. And then of course, fertilizers. Our kits has organic fertilizers. This is powdered. Dun po sa mga nagtatanong kung ano siya, it's actually chicken manure, processed chicken manure. So when you try to smell it, it smells like sugar or burnt sugar. Hindi po siya pungent. It's fully processed, so it's really safe for you guys. And for your kids also. And of course, the kit comes with a potting mix or a soil. Ito po yung gagamitin nyo, of course, para magpalaki po kayo ng halaman. So hindi na kayo mahihirapan maghanap sa gardens nyo or sa garden supply shops. It is actually included in the kit. And of course, the pot na mahirap tanggalin because it's fit. We're using coconut coir husk pots. The reason why we chose this and hindi po kami naglagay ng plastic na pot is first, is biodegradable. And second, yung ilalim po niya kahit walang butas, it is actually porous. Mamaya pagka nag-demo ako, makikita nyo. But this will ensure na hindi po kayo nag-overwater. Kasi pagka naglagay kayo ng overwater, magdidrip lang po siya sa ilalim. Alright? And then of course, later I'll show you. So okay, let's go and try to open. So seed sowing basics po tayo. Basically, you can start sowing, ulitin ko, manual. We have the fertilizer. We have the plant marker. We have the seeds. We have the soil. And of course, we have the pots. Now we can go ahead and start with our seed sowing activity. Okay, mabilis lang to. So, kung may container kayo, again, this is not really saying na you are limited by this. You can actually use yung mga sinabi ko po kanina. But of course, you have to empty your soil. So seed sowing po yung ginagawa natin. Hindi po ako cook, hindi po ito cooking show. It's planting show. There. Okay, ine-empty ko. Sorry, hindi, itataas ko na lang. Okay. So I emptied the soil. And then it's really important for you to shake it, guys. Not just because gusto nyo lang, but it's really important to make sure na wala pong air pockets or yung mga holes dun sa loob. So you can use your hands, and I strongly suggest if you're planting with your kids, involve your kids in the planting activity. Let them lightly press the soil. So ipapapress nyo po yun. Huwag nyo pong idiin utang na loob. Hindi po polvoron yan. You just lightly press it para at least sure lang po kayo na walang buo sa loob. Alright? So you just lightly press it. And then when you're trying to, nakikita ba? When you're trying to put soil sa pot, make sure that you actually leave a quarter of an inch or half an inch doon po sa paso. Why is it important? Usually po kasing iba, sobrang bibo, pinupuno po nila to the brim. Once you water it, and then puno siya up to the lip of your pots, lalabas po yung lupa. So it's really important for you guys to leave space dun sa taas. Alright? So once na malagay nyo na yung soil, baka magalit po sa akin ng staff ko at magkakalat ako sa lamesa, may bowl ako. What you need to do, okay, bababa ko. There you go. Hindi po kailangan to. Para lang hindi ako magkalat. You'll definitely need a watering can. Water definitely. So nalipat na natin yung soil sa loob na, and then we'll just have to douse it with water. Okay. Ito na po yung maganda with a coconut coir pot. Shit. Para lang siyang kape. Okay. So I'm putting water, and then I won't stop. Usually ganito po ako magbasa ng soil, not unless it starts to drip. Nakikita niyo po yan. Okay. Why is it important for you to let it drip? para po sure kayo na from top to bottom, nabasa po yung lupa. And minsan kasi, and a lot of us are very fond of sprayers. Okay lang pong gamitin to. But usually, yung atomizer, it makes the water particles so small, minsan hindi siya bumababa doon sa soil. So magugulat kayo, hindi nag-germinate yung seeds because basa yung taas, pero yung ilalim hindi pala basa. So one indication is wait for your pots to drip. So kung gumagamit po kayo ng mga plastic pots, binutasan nyo, please wait for it to drip yung water para at least sure kayo na bumaba. Alright, and then once you have your wet soil, of course, you have to get your seeds. Ayan, okay. Try to make it as quick as possible. And then you have to poke 4 holes. 4 lang po. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nakikita ba? Ginamit ko na yung kamay ko. And then, you have to get 1 to 2 seeds. 1 hanggang 2 buto lang po per hole. So you have to drop 1 to 2 per hole. And then I'll tell you why. Okay. So I dropped 1 seed per hole. It's really important. Yung iba po, binubuhos nila yung buo. Hindi po kailangan. Kasi eventually, kailangan nyo pong isa lang ang matitira dito. So minsan, pag ginagawa nila, hinuhulog nila lahat yung buto, mas heartbreaking po yun kasi magsasprout yan sabay-sabay. Imagine having 40 seedlings. Kailangan nyo lang po ng 3. So papatayin nyo po yung iba doon, which is called thinning. Meaning, every time na lumalaki sila, papatayin nyo po yung pinaka-weak looking seedlings. Alright? So once na nahulog nyo na po, you have to cover it. And one trick, and this is really important, usually yung iba, nagpo-poke sila ng hole hanggang gitna ng paso, which is too deep. As a general rule, para at least may idea kayo, nasi-stress ako dun sa time, para may idea kayo, kung gaano kalalim ilalagay yung buto, actually, kung ano yung diameter o yung kapal ng buto ninyo, ayun po dapat yung seeds on top of it, ay yung soil on top of it. So kung yung buto nyo is ganito kalaki, ganito lang dapat kataas yung soil on top of it. Hindi po siya sobrang lalim. Why? Pag sobra, yung ibang ginagawa nila, hinuhulog yung buto sa ilalim, sa kanila ilalagay yung mga lupa. So parang nandun siya sa ilalim. Why? Bago po siya mag-sprout, na bulok na siya sa loob. And we're actually trying to mimic yung nature. Like sa forest po, pagka ang prutas, tama po, wala naman nagkukultivate niya, pero dumadami sila. Yung prutas, say for example ng mangga, pag nahulog, yung gravity lang po yung mag-i-indent doon sa lupa. So minimimik lang natin yun. Pagka nahulog yung prutas, kung gaano kalaki yun, of course, ganun lang yung indentation niya sa lupa. Minimik lang po natin, ganun lang tayo magtatanim. So kung mangga po yung tinatanim niyo, soil on top of it. So kung basil yung tinatanim niyo, soil on top of it, as a general rule. And of course, pagka nahulog nyo na, you have to cover it, please. And then, once you cover it, you'll have to water it again.
More water.
More water, more fun. Again, I'm waiting for it to drip. Nakikita niyo po yan. Okay. So, once it drips, that's basically seed sowing. You've started your planting journey and you have to wait for it. Now, final tips, when you're trying to germinate a seed, ibig sabihin ng germinate is nagpapasprout, hindi pa po niya kailangan ng araw. Pwede niyo po siyang ilagay sa loob ng cabinet, pwede niyo po siyang ilagay sa loob ng bag ninyo, dalhin niyo siya buong araw, okay lang. It doesn't require any sunlight. Once na lumabas na po yung sprout, which is around 7 to 14 days, pagka-4 na po yung dahon niya, sa kanya lang po siya slowly ilalagay sa araw. Pero while buto pa siya, wala pa po siya, hindi niya kailangan ng sunlight at all. You can keep it inside your cupboard. And then you have to make sure na lagi pong wet yung soil. So pwede po kayong gumamit ng sprayer, spray it 2 times a day. Mm-hmm. Yung iba, lalo na ngayon pagka-summer, they cover it with plastic. Yung idea ng plastic is para hindi mag-evaporate yung water. Pero you have to lock the moisture in. So you can use this, but my favorite is of course a watering can. Make sure na it's always wet. And then it's a waiting game. And one tip pa rin po, huwag po kayo mag-benchmark ng buto. Meaning, nagtanim kayo ng basil, and then nagtanim kayo, say, for example, ng ampalaya, and then yung iba sa amin nagme-message, siguro sira yung seeds ng ampalaya. Sabi namin, bakit? Kasi po yung basil namin lumabas na, yung ampalaya hindi pa. Don't benchmark germination of seeds because iba-iba po sila ng speed. Basil, ipitik nyo lang po yan sa lupa, tatanim po yan, lalaki po yan. So other seeds can take up until 14 days. After 14 days, sa kanyo lang po masasabi na hindi nag-germinate yung seeds. Pero while it is still within 14 days, all you have to do is wait and be patient and take care of your plants. So that's about it.
O,
Yes,
di ba?
may
Para
natutunan
rin palang
kayo.
mga anak, dapat daw wag i-compare ang mga bata, sabi nila.
Yes, bawal ang
Carlo, so
favorite.
correct. So sa plants din pala, it's the same. So, oh my gosh, ang daming
Yes.
natutunan. There you have it, Shopee fam. And I know that we are close to wrapping up today's Ask the Pro episode. Gardening could be a great bonding activity with your family where you could get them to learn about nature and agriculture. This could also help them
Yes.
appreciate, di ba? The importance of growing food para naman meron tayong sariling pagkain kahit ano man ang mangyari. So, Sir Carlo, I would like to thank you so much for being here today and teaching us how to grow our own food from our home. So, Sir Carlo, paano naman nilang makikita ang mga growing kits ninyo? Or would you like to leave a message maybe for our Shopee fam?
Oh yeah. First, I usually end our presentation by saying this: there's no such thing as black thumb. Again, everybody is capable. You just have to know the basics. Yun lang po yun. And you really need to know kung paano po mag-uumpisa. And that's about it. You can immediately start your planting journey. I know gardening and agriculture can be very intimidating, lalo na po dun sa mga hindi sanay and hindi humawak. But please try it and start your planting journey, and you will be surprised how, because ganun din po ako nag-start, you will be surprised how fulfilling it is to see a sprout dun po sa mga buto ninyo. And I'm sure once you see a sprouting, you'll get hooked. And for our grow kits, you can check our website, Instagram also. It's Manila Grow Kits. Medyo millennial po yung spelling. It's MNL. And then Grow Kits. I think meron kami dun sa last slide. Hindi ko alam kung pwede nilang i-flash. And then po lahat ng details namin. But we ship everywhere in Metro Manila. And of course, everything that you need to grow your plants is inside the box. Walang black thumb. We all have a green thumb. All you just need to know is how to start and where to start.
No black thumb, and that is very good news. At ito pa ang isang good news for you, Shopee fam. Alam niyo naman na we cannot end this without us giving you another voucher. Kaya naman, it is another voucher time. And while
Kala ko
you are
papasayawin
tapping
mo.
that, o diba? Kala ko mag-Shopee ka na. Sir Carlos, so Manila Grow
Yes.
Kits, right? MNL Grow
Yes.
Kits. That's it. So
.com.
ayan ha.
Yes.
Diyan yung makikita ang mga produkto ni Sir Carlo. Sana pwede rin ako mag-message dyan kasi nga magtatanim na rin ako. Talaga namang excited to do all the gardening from inside my house. And Shopee fam, that is it for our episode today. Please keep on tapping para naman ma-claim ninyo ang voucher natin na nasa screen right now. Thank you very much for participating and spending your afternoon with us. At kung kayo ay hindi pa excited sa pagtatanim right now, hindi ko na alam kasi ako super na-excite ako because of Sir Carlo. So,
Thank you.
kaya naman mamaya please click the remind me button again dahil meron tayong episode ulit 3 p.m. Ask the Pro yan on Friday at abangan ang aming mga FB announcements then. So you can also comment your questions for our next topic. And Sir Carlo and I would be saying bye for now after nyong kumuha ng mga voucher nyo. Stay safe, healthy Shopee fam. Stay tuned for our episode later para makakuha ng Shopee coins, discount vouchers, and giveaways. For now, once again, walang black thumb. Bye, Shopee fam!
Bye guys. Thank you. Enjoy.